And let's pause also the music so that you can start the other match. As I can see on the first channel between RSI, dobře, I said it right. RSA and Dot already finished, as we are gonna be joining, or rather you're gonna be joining me here for the second game. So hopefully you're gonna be having fun as well in here between ONU and WLoMs. So how's it looking with the gods in here on Marsh? That is quite probably WLoM's home map. WLoM's, that's we are Legends of Mythology. We are the Legends of Mythology, and ONU, of course, Organization of Natural Uppers, a very old Age of Mythology and Age of Empires clan as well. So the gods Sparks, Thor, Zero BR, Oranos, and then Asterix as the last for ONU. The new one is gonna be playing Thor as well, so quite aggressive gods all around in here. As for the opponents, WLoM 1980 is gonna be playing Oranos, that's Switch. Last game on Medit he played Zeus, Odysseus Zeus, that's a stick, and Zero OP is gonna be playing Zeus. Last time around, Burzum was playing Loki, I think, if I remember correctly. So a bit different, but still double Zeus for WLoM. So let's see if they're gonna be able to use it on a map like this. And if you're gonna be seeing plenty of early aggression and potentially even some kind of attempt at maybe even Athena rush from the double Zeuses. Definitely curious. Definitely curious indeed. Otherwise, we are right now looking at Piggy's just scouting behind for Asterix, and he's gonna be spawning actually on the flank, so he's gonna be protecting his teammate Sparks in the middle, who is going to be Thor. So potentially you might be seeing some kind of idea of faster Mythic Age or whatnot for faster Ragnarok. Yeah, well, kinda curious if that's gonna happen or not. Otherwise, of course, on the right flank, that's gonna be Oranos for 0BR, and well, of course, he's gonna be quite interested in coming into the enemy base as he's already scouting there, and he's actually quite close to his opponent, to 1980. And since 1980 was probably the best game of WLoM, or rather best player of WLoM, I'm quite curious how this battle is gonna go, because 0BR, yeah, well, he was having quite a bit of fun with Burzum, with the early aggression even on Medit. Well, beside the base, of course, you're gonna be seeing nothing all that out of the ordinary, because you're on Marsh, and that's a map that usually spawns quite alright. You don't really see any kind of problems so far. As for example, right now, let's look at the TC's positions. This is the front of Sparks, whereas right next to him is gonna be front of Asterix. And this is kinda unfortunate right about now for WLoMs, because this is probably the front TC of Odysseus. Yeah, there's gonna be front of Odysseus, and it's quite far away into the middle of the map, which can be nice for map control, but at the same time, when you are probably gonna be facing a situation where this TC is gonna be captured by your opponent, if you are actually not gonna be taken for yourself, so maybe, just maybe, Odysseus is gonna be aiming for this one quite sooner than for this one. Well, it might be a bit harder to actually attain, as of course the map control from those two TCs could be quite kinda problematic, as this is very far away from the home base, and that basically means it's gonna be harder to defend from the enemy raids and whatnot. Otherwise, this TC is gonna be supremely important for both 0BR and 1980, because this is one of 0, this one is of 1980s, and the 1980s is basically kinda similar to Odysseus's on the left. It's not doing a whole lot as far as actually getting into your opponent's base and whatnot. But whereas this one is for both gonna be super crucial, and it's not really that far away from 1980 that it couldn't be considered for him to be stolen. And you can see that he's already scouted there. So yeah, that might be really quite good. Quite good for him in the bit later. Well, how's it looking otherwise, for example, with the relics, as we are at 3 minutes, so advancing is gonna be coming soon. Coming soon indeed. That's gonna be better attack for all the siege. Definitely very nice relic overall. But not entirely certain if it's gonna be all that useful for Norse and Atlanteans, of course. But for the Greek, of course, building LOS, definitely very great relic for scouting. And basically making sure that you can avoid raids in the early game especially. Unit line of sight, absolutely great as well. This time for the raiding, not against raiding. And the relic is gonna be on the left, that's Gold Trickle, that's nothing all that huge to be happy about, but otherwise, Myth Unit Crush Armor, well, yeah, that's one I still haven't really figured out if it's actually useful or not. I still think that it's not really. Maybe for Titan if it works for him, but I'm not really certain that it does. And this relic though is pretty great for Archer being cheaper, and Trolls and Centaurs as well, as there are still gonna be a few left. There is one for Chiaro Ballista, Hippaspis, Axeman Throwing, Axeman Hack Damage, very good. Very good indeed, and the last two are gonna be about what? One of them, better cavalry chariot archer 8 points, pretty cool for the cavalry, especially in this matchup, as we of course don't have any Egyptians in there, and cheaper armory researches, that's always nice to have, as it allows you to get them sooner, of course. And this is, yeah, this is the very last one. This is even cheaper temple researches, which is, well, sometimes it can be useful if you are having some good researches, so it's not really that bad. And let's not say that 20% would be any kind of small amount, it's actually quite a lot. Apparently plenty of piggies for Asterix. You can see that he has gathered so many of them, but so has actually Sparks. Not really bad for Zero either. And I was looking for the opponents. Kinda meek and not really that strong amount of them here. Not bad for Zero OP, as the last one Odysseus also having slightly less than the opponent, so it seems that they were actually gathering a bit better, as we are looking at Athena from Zero OP. Athena, wow. Okay, so we are probably gonna be looking at some early aggressions in there, but since he's in the pocket, it's probably gonna be a bit difficult. So let's see what side he actually chooses. He's so far building inside his base. That's usually not a great idea if you want to somehow strong double with your allies. Because on a big map like this, on a team game, it usually means that you're gonna be quite slow to actually get into the enemy, and also to replace any kind of reinforcements, or rather replace any kind of losses, of course, with reinforcements. That it's not really gonna be that easy. Of course, in here, 1980 is gonna be denied any kind of scouting anymore, and he will have to basically send his army there as soon as possible, and he is definitely aiming for that. So Forest Fire being cast right about now on the left by Asterix. It's gonna be actually quite an important one, as we are looking at Minotaur being flown around with the villager as well. Because this is a big one, big forest, and much more important, this is basically gonna be opening the way inside his base. As yet, it's gonna be fairly easy right about now for Asterix to get there, without any kind of chance of actually successfully walling this. So Odysseus is just now open, wide open for any kind of abuse, and it seems that Asterix is definitely aiming for abusing that as soon as possible. Well, he already has a bit of a Pegasus scout in the ascending, and that means that he has a relic for it, which is something that I actually missed, but yeah, well, it's not like it matters a whole lot. And it's actually a very good and useful relic, especially for the early game, because it's like when you are Odin and getting the free ravens, this is kinda similar, and it's definitely helping, or rather helping, with knowing where to go and where to attack. In the meantime, not much happening on the left, as we're switching to the right side, where, well, 1980 is already quite aggressive. But so is, of course, also Zero, so they are just fighting against each other, and since they are both Oranoses, it's probably gonna be quite a good matchup between those two. Quite a good matchup. So far it seems like that 1980 doesn't really trust himself all that much, especially looking at those two Prometheans in there. It could be a bit of an issue if he doesn't properly micro, and he probably doesn't feel like doing it all that much, but otherwise, I really would be slightly favoring him, because it seems that he's having a bit more of the game right about now, as on the left we don't see all that much of a change, but yeah, basically just continuing with what we were thinking, and that was the Athena Rush. A bit different Athena Rush, as we are looking at all kinds of units in here, not only hoplites and Doxotai, but also a few horses I have seen there. I've seen yeah, I did see Hippicon. I wasn't having any kind of hallucinations. And Odysseus, come on guy. Even though you can take them on, you really shouldn't. You really shouldn't, and you should be helping with the attack, as they are getting rid of the towers and definitely gonna be trying to deny any kind of defense capabilities of the teal player. Well, he's left with 3 towers still. He's not researching them yet, but this one is definitely crucial that it's down. And as I was saying a bit before, that potentially there could be a bit of a way open for Asterix to get into Odysseus' base. It's right now turning exactly the opposite way, and Odysseus is gonna be having a very easy way right from this TC temple and buildings into the enemy base as well. So yeah, pretty good double. So we are probably aiming for the moment where our restorations are gonna be cast. They're actually having both of them. Odysseus and Zero OP, so they're basically all in for the Athena Rush. And to be completely honest, I'm kinda having fingers crossed, because that's a strategy you don't really see all that often in RTS League. Usually players play it kinda safe-ish and whatnot. And well, this wasn't ideal restoration, but in the situation it was quite alright, because he definitely needed to protect his units, and he needed to give himself time and his ally to somehow attack the TC and also, yep, kill a few units here and there. He should be casting restoration about soon as well, because he's losing all the hobbits in there. Yeah, this is unfortunately quite mismanaged right about now. As you can see, this Asterix is quite well defended right about now with all the throwing axemen, and with the help that he received from Sparks, he seems to be going quite alright. So I'm slightly worried that even though I was holding all my toes and fingers absolutely everywhere on my body in here, this seems like that it's been stopped, because right now, even though they still do have one restoration, it's gonna be quite a lot weaker, and I'm not certain they can actually do anything significant, because of course, their opponents are already ready on there. And well, that means that it's probably gonna be up to 1980 to supply some extra pressure if they want to win, but it doesn't seem to be happening because of course he's right now tied in pretty tight 1-1 with 0 BR, and it seems that they gonna be just fighting against each other in a bit of 1v1 for the rest of the game. And let's see how it actually ends. Mustn't forget that second TC is being captured by 1980, whereas it isn't by Red. So that's definitely gonna be a bit of a power spike for him if he manages it properly. So far he seems to be doing exactly that. As on the left, not much of a difference from what we saw a bit before, as apparently a little squad of units by Odysseus is gonna be trying to kill a few pesky Hersiers and a few units on top of that. Yep, it seems to be working for them, but otherwise Steel is also advancing forward with a significant amount of raiding cavalry, trying to raid as much as possible. And also we can see some kind of potential breakthrough by 0BR, which could be also because of investment into TC, because that's a lot of resources, and apparently a bit of idols in there, and that could be quite costly, because at this stage he needs to be really on top of his game, and if he's gonna be falling behind on absolutely anything, then, well, of course, Red is gonna be having a much easier time somehow abusing that, but he's right now at least splitting armies, which is not a bad idea at all, because so far it seems like that 1980 is not splitting at all. So he's basically just keeping everything in one spot, and it means that, well, Red, of course, is right now free to raid with either the right flank or the left one. Nicely played, as he's also going to be gathering the second TC for himself, as did a bit before ONU Sparks. Well, still a bit of an attempt to push forward, but of course this is this is absolutely suboptimal, of course, for him, because he's desperately trying to get onto the tower, but before he does, he's under attack by the throwing axeman, by, of course, the tower itself shooting. So yeah, it's not really great position for him, and he needs to use a bulk of his army to defend against the ever-present and omnipresent as well Asterix's raids. You can see so many horses everywhere, and I will be definitely liking a bit of an upgrade into mediums in there. That would be quite a huge issue for the opponents for WLoMs. Otherwise, Sparks is coming for a 30C already, so quite nicely played, as apparently there was a bit of scouting of the TC, but a bit too late. Bit too late indeed, as we are looking at a bit of an attempt to actually kill quite a decent amount of citizens, so that's one dead. With a bit of luck, it's gonna be second. It still could be second. Oh well, yeah, it won't be, but this looks like a still pretty good battle for him. He definitely should be engaging it, because once he gets away from this is gonna be quite good enough for him. And unfortunately, too late for the TC, but I really am convinced he should be taking this fight, because he's having much more units than the Red player. But right now, with the TC being there, of course, Red is gonna be hanging back to it and right next to it, which means not any kind of good advantageous position for him. Or he's catching some archers, but of course with the archers there are also hoplites and a few more on that, as Odysseus is right now attacking in the front, as he was casting the restoration in there, but unfortunately he was caught by the heroic Age God power by Sparks, and he is using the opportunity to not only pummel the units, but also finish Hillfort and maybe, just maybe even take the TC. But he's already at 3, and at 12 minutes he cannot really afford 4. He really doesn't have the economy at this stage for it, so maybe he shouldn't be even attempting it. So let's see what's gonna happen. Maybe it would be better if Asterix just took the second. Kinda thinking that would be useful for him. But yeah, plenty of economy in there. We're just checking what's happening in there. As of course, a bit of raiding is also going on by Sparks, by some already medium raiders behind the base of Yellow, keeping plenty of army back at home without any kind of significant damage or whatnot. So, some upgrades. Give me those. Wow! Already tier for Sparks. Yeah, that's gonna be a nasty surprise for the opponents. Hyperion is also coming up for 1980, but still, well, that's gonna be one hell of a fight. He doesn't have, of course, Sparks. He doesn't have flaming weapons because he used the opportunity to actually get Frost. But still, the Fimbul Winter is gonna be a bit of a problem. And much more importantly, what's gonna be a problem are gonna be all the units that he's gonna be making so much better than his opponents, of course. So let's check some upgrades in the meantime. Baseline for Sparks already. For Asterix, it's nothing. And for Yellow, probably absolutely nothing. Yeah, that's to be expected from Zeus at this stage. But still would be definitely liking mediums in there, as they are significantly missing at this battle. And that's the reason why he's not having all that much of a luck against a Norse, which otherwise he probably should be. At any rate, it seems that actually 1980 is having a bit of a run around with his army, taking all the Red army behind him. So at least red is not doing anything significant. And you can see that right now, basically green is applying absolutely the same strategy that red did to him a bit before, and he's quite successful at it. Just now forcing off the gold. Definitely they were gold miners. One dead citizen in there, and he is probably gonna be looking to take some kind of advantage from this battle. On the right, that is gonna be happening pretty soon, I'm thinking, because looking at the minimap, he is already doubling back, so is red, but through a bit different route. Anyway, Fimbulwinter is in, which means horse. Wow. This is gonna be like almost ancestors from Egyptian. All those extra wolfies in here. Well, poor yellow. He was winning the battle until he wasn't. Right now, even though Odysseus is gonna be helping insignificantly, so they should be able to defend. But yeah, those wolfies are definitely godsend. Well, they were sent by the gods, of course, by Tyr himself, so yep, that is definitely correct. And I'm so liking this Hydra. So liking this Hydra, but of course he needs to be careful because Ulfjarls are there, and they're gonna be a bit of a pest against the mythical units in there. Otherwise, how's it looking? Not really that bad. What I would be liking for Odysseus is to get extra TC, because he doesn't have the population limit yet, and he doesn't have apparently even all that many upgrades. Yeah, he doesn't. So that's... I'm slightly worried. It might be the downfall for WLoMs. Because of course, their opponents are just gonna be getting the edge. They're already getting the edge in the Mythical Age and the God Powers and whatnot. But yeah, once they get even the extra upgrades, it's gonna be really getting into a point where it's very hard to actually come back from. No upgrades, just mediums for 1980, as we are looking at no upgrades for the opponent. He's having also mediums, as we are inching into pretty important battle, as flaming weapons are cast by Asterix. Fortunately, both of the opponents' Zeuses went for a restoration, so no ceasefire for that. And well, Odysseus, at least he did cast the bronze, which I think he cast after. But of course, right now they need to retreat, because there is no point fighting against a flaming weapon when the army is basically popped for the opponent. There's not really any kind of reason for that. Anyway, red is killing a few blue, or rather, not blue, green. Green is the correct color in here. That has found itself somehow in there, as green is also in the Mythical Age just about now, with Tartarian Gate and casting it in the middle of the enemy base. He's gonna be trying to somehow stop this TC, which he might succeed in, but he's right now casting it basically similarly to what was the Fimbulwinter on the left, so basically like ancestors for him, to get some extra units that he can get so that his opponent has to fight them, and in the meantime he can get some extra army and stop the TC, kill villagers and whatnot, like that. So, oh well, here are already for WLoM. This is something that I like about WLoMs. In the first game on Merit, it was basically the same. They are advancing very fast into the next ages. Rather very fast, faster than their opponents, quite significantly. And that basically speaks to quite good build orders and basically having quite a good strategy behind them. But yeah, well, all they need to do is right now turn it into victory. Let's see if they're going to be able to do so, because so far plenty of mythical units with Ulfjarls and Throwing Axemen already heavy, and some nice upgrades, bronze, copper are coming up from Sparks. And since he's having the 40 Cs and is fully popped and he's not gonna be losing the economy to any kind of Ragnarok, well, it's not like Ragnarok is any kind of bad god power. It's still quite a big threat to your opponents, as obviously you can see on the right on the score, only ONU Sparks is having 40 Cs, otherwise it's all 2 and Odysseus at 1. Interesting indeed. This is gonna be quite a pitch battle. Is there gonna be some kind of advantage for actually upgrades for either side? No upgrades for red. There is some green unit actually here. Green is having at least copper shield, that's nice, as we are looking at actually where is it actually being cast? It was cast here, but it's actually not shooting anywhere. Or am I completely blind? Ah, yeah, I'm completely blind. It was actually cast here at the top, because yellow needs all the help that he can get, so his teammate Odysseus is sending him some bit of gift from Hera. You can see even Therum Frost Giants, so they are even upgraded in there. So definitely nice strat from Sparks, seeing all those extra units. And well, they might just be able to defend, but maybe also not, because the reinforcements from Asterix are gonna be just a bit too much. So goodbye TC, this is not gonna stand. And even though Odysseus is doing what he can to push into Asterix, I'm not entirely certain it's gonna be fast enough, especially looking at the 45 TC coming here. Yeah, that's gonna be coming before the units get there. That's quite unlucky right about now for Odysseus. And of course the Masons behind that, that's gonna be even more of a disappointment for Odysseus, and he will have to deal quite a lot more damage than he was probably hoping for. In the meantime, red is advancing forward onto green, as green wasn't successful in somehow defending this town center from this opponent. He's being basically forced into full-on defensive, also losing hero villager, hero citizen on the gold mine, and well, on the TC. Yeah, well, he's probably gonna be sticking to his base for the next minutes. In the meantime, of course, Asterix is still continuing with the Radiant, and Sparks is just pushing forward through the middle. Popped at 4 TC still, but he should be having 5. Oh, 2, 3, 4. No, okay, 4. Okay, I'm just blind a bit. So nah, it's correct. It's correct indeed. But he's gonna be in 5 pretty soon. Pretty soon indeed in there. And this is basically pretty bad right now for 0 OP because he's at just 1 TC and he's taking up the spot of the Zeus on WLoM's team with just 1 TC, of course, because Odysseus is right now at 2. It's nice to see. He has taken the one at the back and he's hoping that he can somehow push forward. Definitely nice Hydra already with 3 heads on her, so basically 60 attack for her. But yeah, she unfortunately cannot really use her talents all that much because she doesn't have any kind of support by extra army, and this 45 TC already with Masons on it, and yeah, everything in there. That's just plenty of hit points that just the Hydra cannot take by herself. Sparks apparently gonna be diversifying with the Radiant a bit, switching from the right to left as well, trying to kill the economy, and he will definitely succeed with all those villages, as in the middle the TC is secured, and so is gonna be the position with Hill Fort and a few extra towers here and there. Well, yeah, definitely situation getting quite dire for 0, as on the right, 1980 is doing what he can to somehow stall his opponent, as apparently Red is growing up in numbers, definitely is, because he's having 1 TC more. He's having 1 TC more, he's not having 45, but at least he's coming into Hecate. So yeah, you can kinda guess what's gonna happen after he advances. It should be quite a big blow for 1980. So medium Murmilos with copper shields, we have seen that a bit before. For Red, it's mediums also, and copper mail might be slightly better, considering all the circumstances, but with the pellets coming up, probably being destroyed by Tartarengate, I'm kinda guessing. That seems like a good idea for him, as apparently Asterix is having a bit of a ride through the bases of the enemies, as Odysseus is losing the TC at the back. You get a very nice rating of all those, how are they called? Thermfrost Giants. Yeah, very nicely played, and they're gonna be killing probably a few more villages on the road, as of course Steel is gonna be helping with that. You can see how fast those horses are. Yeah, he's having the better cavalry hit points, but not the speed. But still, at the 6 speed they are running as fast as possible, and they are forcing basically like half the economy of Odysseus to go back and hide. And the Hydra, well, she's already at 4 heads. Unfortunately, hit points are just 160, and yep, right now he's going to be calling it a GG, because obviously the situation is basically the same all across the game. Even through 1980 trying to go for the Titan Gate, unfortunately the battle doesn't seem to be going all that well for him. It probably would be losing for him, even though through the hero heavy Murmilos in there. But yeah, Yellow is kinda toastish, as he was under heavy attack by Sparks, and Sparks is already a champion with the infantry, having the basically almost all upgrades in there. Well, yeah, almost. He's missing iron weapons in there. I was seeing that correctly. And let's see if he's gonna be able to at least take the Titan up, because obviously there's not gonna be any fight left on the left. And Onus, well, they're gonna be taking the premier match of theirs in season 29 2-0, so pretty good, important points for them to start the season on a high note in division number 2. Well, Tartarengate, of course, that's gonna be killed. Then some catapults making an appearance in there, as of course TCs are gonna be taken absolutely everywhere. 0 BR right now at 4, and with all the army, especially all the horses right about now, heavy raiders coming from Asterix BR with the nice upgrades, copper in there. Could be a bit more, but still, it's quite enough. It should be also enough to get rid of this Titan Gate. Are there any god powers? Not really. Not really anything useful. And yep, it's a GG. And it was a very nice game, the same as the first one, and actually really good games between those two Latin American teams, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of them in the next rounds. In the next rounds of the season. So let's check. Sparks is gonna be having the most. Well, he was the most important player in the game. And most prominent player in the game, so definitely makes sense. And definitely refreshing to see Thor being played without flaming weapons and without Ragnarok. Yeah, he went Skadi and Tyr. Quite brave. It was quite a nice, diverse gameplay from him. Yeah, even the strong echo behind it. He was really playing quite well indeed. This was most definitely his game. Even the efficiency, 105, 157. Good, good. "15 Prometheans, well that's an interesting number. Zero BR definitely went nuts on them. Well, seems to be liking his Prometheans. Okay, GG. You can see by how much actually Sparks beat the rest of the players by about 23,000 resources. Well, that's a huge amount. So the huge amount.